Hey, what's up, everybody? So coming back to you today, this is True Boxing. Thanks for coming back to get hit with the truth. Today we're going to discuss the Canelo versus Saunders fight. This fight is on Saturday, May 8th on DAZN. It is going to main event. You're going to see Canelo attempt to unify belts against the undefeated WBO champion Billy Joe Saunders. Canelo holds the WBC and WBA titles, the two belts that he won when he dominated Callum Smith, and he's coming off the big win over Avni Yildirim. He is your pound for pound king of boxing right now. He is. And I don't think there's any more doubt. If anybody is still doubting that, they shouldn't, because who else is there that's done what Canelo's done? So that shouldn't even be a question anymore. Canelo is driving towards the undisputed crown. He wants to become the first ever Mexican undisputed world champion in any weight class, and he has a direct line and a path to that. He beats Saunders in May. He takes on most likely the undefeated IBF champion Caleb Plant in September, and then he has achieved that goal. He's also talking about fighting in December, but the next step to that goal is Billy Joe Saunders, the undefeated WBO champion. So this is it's a big fight. Canelo has just been rolling. I mean, he's been rolling since his rematch with Triple G in September of 2018. He stepped up his game and he looked awesome in that rematch with Triple G. It was a great fight, back and forth, toe to toe. He was pushing the action. He was pushing Triple G back in that fight. Triple G was landing good combination shots, and Triple G actually outlanded Canelo, but Canelo landed the bigger shots. He was hitting to the body where Triple G wasn't, and I think that's what won the fight, but it was a very close majority decision. But since then, Canelo has been on fire. He destroyed John Ryder in December of 2018 with a third round knockout on a body shot. Then he scored a pretty convincing and impressive 12-round decision over Daniel Jacobs to unify middleweight belts at 160. Then he moved up to light heavyweight and brutally knocked out Sergey Kovalev, the Hall of Fame former three-time light heavyweight champion. Then he moved back down to 168. Took about 13 months off because of COVID, had a lot to do with that. Moved back down to 168 and took on Callum Smith in December of 2020. Dominated the number one super middleweight in the world, Callum Smith. Dominated him to a lopsided and shutout 12-round decision and captured the unified super middleweight championship at 168. And then took on Avni Yildirim last weekend and in a WBC mandatory defense and destroyed Yildirim, knocked him down hard, and Yildirim, his corner would stop the fight after 3 rounds as Canelo kept his 2 world titles. So big Canelo is coming in, the biggest star and rolling right now, and he's got his next fight already good to go against Billy Joe Saunders. Now, Saunders rolling in. People know Saunders. He's undefeated. He talks a lot, kind of flashy. But in all reality, Saunders hasn't beaten anybody impressive since December of 2017. So it's been, by the time of the fight, it's going to be close to 3.5 years since he had a real significant win over somebody. His biggest wins have come against John Ryder, then Chris Eubank early on. But those were like 2013, 2014. He beat Andy Lee, I believe, in 2015. That was probably the second biggest win of his career when he captured his first world title at 160 middleweight. And then his win over David Lemieux was to keep the middleweight title and in December of 17. And since then, he hasn't really beaten anybody big, He got questionable decisions against Arthur Akakov and Willie Monroe Jr. He ended up giving up his middleweight title to move up to super middleweight, and it was either May of 2018 it was May of 2019 he captured that title, made his first defense against, I think it was Marcos Caceres, but dude was a nobody in November of 2019, and he ended up knocking Caceres out in the 11th round, but Caceres wasn't considered to be a big time name, he wasn't, so he struggled in that, and he didn't come back until November of last year when he fought Martin Murray, the former, former many-time world title challenger, but he ended up, he didn't struggle against Murray, but Murray was like 38, way past his prime, and Saunders scored a one-sided decision win there, to no surprise. So really no standout wins for Billy Joe Saunders since David Lemieux in December of 2017. So, he's a two-division champ, he's undefeated, he's a slick southpaw, and he's going to have a perfect game plan for Canelo. He is. He's going to have to figure out how to box and stay away from Canelo to where Canelo cannot unload his combinations and figure out the kind of game plan Canelo's going to employ, because Canelo is just crafty, man. This dude is a great boxer puncher, but he times his shots well. He's very smart, and he's very well prepared by Eddie Reynoso. And Billy Joe Saunders, how he's going to figure that out, I don't know, and avoid getting hit. I definitely believe that Saunders can land some shots, but Canelo's a good defensive fighter as well. So I think Billy Joe's got his work cut out for him. I really do. But Canelo, if Billy Joe is light on his feet, Canelo could also struggle in this one too. But Canelo has just been able to adapt to any style the last couple years, and even prior to that, prior to really outside of Triple G and Floyd Mayweather, Canelo hasn't really struggled with anybody. He hasn't. He's pretty much been able to figure out everybody's styles in one way or the other. I know people feel the fight with Austin Trout way back in 2013 was somewhat questionable. I really didn't. He got a knockdown. He looked good. I know the fight with Erislandy Lara he struggled with, but Saunders, in my opinion, is just a different type of style than Canelo is. So I just don't see Canelo struggling that much, but you never know. Saunders does have a slick style. It could be it is an interesting style clash, and I'm looking forward to seeing these guys go at it. I really think it's an interesting style matchup, and we're gonna see if Billy Joe can outbox the great pound-for-pound king Canelo Alvarez on May 8th on DAZN. So you're really looking at what, in my opinion, could be a chess match, and those matches are fun to watch. So don't sleep on this fight. Don't think Canelo's just got it in the bag. He is going to come in a considerable favorite, but please don't sleep on Billy Joe Saunders with his style. He's a loudmouth, and I think when it comes to, I think Saunders is the type of guy that gets up for the big fights and fights to his opponent's level for the smaller fights. And there is no bigger fight in Saunders' career than the fight against Canelo Alvarez. So big fight for him. Big fight for Canelo in his quest to become the first Mexican undisputed champion. And excuse me. And I can't wait to see this unification bout. 3 of the 4 belts is going to the winner at 168, with the 4th belt sitting there dangling for at least Canelo for September against Caleb Plant. So we'll see what happens. But that's it, guys. That's the Canelo versus Saunders is on video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. True boxing. You've been here with the truth.